Okay, so this video is for anybody who knows someone who hasn't voted yet and is considering voting for Trump. If you know anybody like this, pass this on to them because maybe it'll make a difference. I'm going to do it in a slightly different way, though. I'm going to base what I'm saying on what Trump has been accusing Hillary of. Okay? So, for example, lying Hillary. If you go to politifact.com and look, as of June 29th, they had fact check, and what they found was that Trump, if you counted pants on fire lies, untrue, basically false, and even half truths, it comes to 91%, just over 91% lies or partial lies on the part of Trump. And Clinton was at 46% or 26% if you count mostly falses, or sorry, if you count half truths or half lies as not lies. So another way of putting this is that Trump, at that point, 10 out of 11 statements that he had been fact-checked on had turned out to be not mostly true. Clinton, again, 46%. That means that Clinton is 6 times as truthful as Trump is. And even at that, you think about it, 46% lies, or 54%, true or mostly true. That's not particularly honest. However, even at that, that actually puts her at better than any of the Republican candidates that made it to the debates. Trump, on the other hand, well, let's put it this way. You had to dial it up to 11 to be able to hear something that he was saying that was mostly true. Okay, next one, crooked Hillary. Look at Hillary. The two things I think mostly people think about is Benghazi and the email scandal. The Benghazi hearings went on for a number of years, and basically there were about 10 of them. 9 of them occurred after they had concluded that there was no wrongdoing in Benghazi by Hillary and the State Department. That's right. They concluded that there was no wrongdoing, and they still went on with multiple hearings again and again and again. And in the end, basically, a number of leading Republicans actually admitted that the real purpose of those hearings was to hurt Hillary's standing with the public. And again, go Google for it. Out of that came the email scandals, the 32,000 or 33,000 deleted emails. Turns out those, if you remember correctly, those emails were actually legally deleted. Her lawyers went through and found stuff that was clearly personal and removed those. But there was a furor over it, and I think she actually ultimately even released the private emails to the FBI. Nonetheless, if you can compare that, previous administrations, the Bush administration also used private email servers, and they deleted 5 million emails from their servers, including emails that had to do with the war in Iraq and other things like that. I think that would also include 9/11. So 5 million emails for 3,300 or 33,000. I think the Republicans get worse. And Trump, by the way, regularly deleted emails, even when he was under subpoena for his numerous lawsuits. He's been cited in court for doing so. So Trump illegally deleted emails. Clinton only legally deleted her emails, and the Republicans before her just went off the scale. Okay. Now the other thing that they get Hillary on was her speeches to big business. Now the thing about that is those big businesses, the banks and such, they gave her the money free and clear. It was for services rendered, and so she has no legal or moral obligation to them after they gave her the check. They cannot take that money back. Trump, on the other hand, has billions of dollars in loans out, and the banks can call in those loans. And if they were to call in some of those loans, they could ruin his business empire, possibly even bankrupt him. This includes hundreds of millions, probably billions of loans from American banks and financial institutions. Also hundreds of millions of dollars from the Chinese and the Russian-controlled banks. And if you want to know why he went to the Chinese and the Russians, basically it's because the American banks and financial institutions got tired of losing money every time they lent to him. Now, here's a problem with that, is that, like I said, they can pull those loans, they can call those loans, and that could cause massive problems for Trump. You can imagine, he gets in and he gets a call from Putin. Hello, God, excuse my Russian accent. Hello, Mr. Trump. Congratulations for getting in. And by the way, I was talking with Sergey. Yeah, Sergey, he's loaned you about $400 million or something. He's worried. He's worried that you will not be a good friend to the Russians. But I told him, Sergey, do not worry. I'm sure Trump will prove himself a good friend to the Russians. So you'll be a good friend to the Russians, yes? Yes? Okay. Oh, good. Well, now let's just stop all this small talk and let's get down to business about Syria. So that's what happens with Trump and his multi-million-dollar loans from various people. Besides that, Trump has done business with mobsters and drug lords. There's photographic evidence of him doing that, hosting them at his casino events in some cases. Now, he claims he doesn't know them, despite the fact that there is photographic evidence of this and documented evidence of him working, hiring companies owned by known mobsters. So, the question comes, why does he not remember it? Is his memory that bad? Perhaps he's going senile. Okay, now, next thing. He's faulted Clinton for Bill's sexual history. And there's not much you can say about that because Bill is a pretty much known serial philanderer. But two things about that. One is it was, as far as we can tell, basically consensual. And the other more important one is that Bill isn't the one that's running. It's Hillary that's running. And as far as we can tell, there's no accusations that Hillary had any sort of affairs. Trump, on the other hand, is also, like Bill, a serial philanderer, but much worse. He cheated on his ex-wives with other ex-wives and even with his current wife. And he brags not just about cheating on his wives, but he also brags about committing a sexual assault. And he's been accused of committing sexual assault, and that includes, he's been accused in court. The case is still pending. He's been accused in court of raping a 13-year-old girl. He claims that he doesn't know any of his accusers or his co-accused. And that's despite the fact that some of his accusers he ran businesses with. And there's photographic evidence of him being with these people that he's accused of assaulting. So this brings the question again. Does he not remember? If he doesn't remember any of these people, this suggests to me that he's possibly suffering from early onset Alzheimer's. Brings me the question, do you really want an undiagnosed Alzheimer's patient running the White House? Next one, he has business experience, Clinton doesn't. Actually, Clinton does have business experience. She worked as a lawyer in the 70s, a time when women were expected pretty much to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. I'm sure that there were a number of times when people came to her and mistook her for her secretary. Clinton came from a middle-class family. She made a real success for herself. And also, you should note that the previous Clinton administration and Hillary was very active in the Bill administration, including her fight for health care. Just an aside, Obamacare was the Republican answer to the Clinton attempt to get everybody under health care. But of course, since it was taken up by Obama, and there wasn't a better competing Democratic solution, they basically dumped on it. In any case, the previous Clinton administration took a deficit from the elder Bush, and over 2 terms turned that into a handy surplus, which was handed to the younger Bush, and then the younger Bush basically trashed the deficit that was handed to him by the Clintons. Trump, he's been a businessman. He inherited about $250 million from his dad, which would basically be over $1 billion right now, just taking into account inflation. If you just invested in the stock market, it'd probably be worth about $4 billion. Most estimates don't place Trump's net worth more than what it would have been if he just stuck his dad's money in an index account. But Trump touts as proof of his business acumen the Taj Mahal. You should know a little bit about the Taj Mahal. It went bankrupt for the first time within a year of launching, and it never had a profitable year in its life. That's right, he lost money with the casino. He never, ever made money with the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal had multiple bankruptcies in its life before it finally permanently closed, just this year. And those bankruptcies took multiple local businesses with it. Sometimes, incidentally, in a couple of cases by comments from businessmen who did deal with the Trump Taj Mahal, they were basically bankrupted maliciously. Things like huge rush orders a week or so before declaring bankruptcy, and then telling them, "Oops, sorry, we don't have the money to pay you for that." So that money-losing billion-dollar venture is the flagship of his financial career. And if you remember, he touted as a huge business win the fact that he lost $1 billion and used that as a tax gain. And if you, again, think about this from the point of view of if you want to vote Trump in as president, for his business acumen, you don't want to look at where he made money. You want to look at what happened to the people who trusted him with his money. And generally speaking, that went pretty bad. Banks have lost billions of dollars, or at least hundreds of millions of dollars, not billions of dollars, lending to him. And a number of businesses have been seriously impacted. So, in a summary, basically, if you want to consider voting for Trump, basically, you'd have to turn down what is probably the most experienced candidate for presidency in the history of the United States, and vote for somebody, basically serial philanderer, sexual predator, possible child rapist, whose flagship business basically never made money. That's what you're basically voting for if you're voting for Trump. So hopefully I gave you something to think about, and thank you very much if you gave me this time. Bye.